Welcome to ridesharingvidz. For this video, what we're going to be talking about is Lyft maneuver methods, guaranteed methods for making a lasting impression on your customers. Okay, guys? And why this is important is because a lot of these passengers, they probably took in a Lyft and Uber ride before, and whether you know it or not, every time they hop in your car, they're always comparing your experience to all the previous experience they had. And if you can, surpass or make their experience a little bit or a lot different in a better way, will go a long way to getting better ratings and getting tips and getting happy, satisfied customers. And also, enjoying your day and having fun while you're doing it. Okay, guys? So before I go into the list of the bullet points, I'm going to talk about something that's known in psychology is the state of flow. Okay, a lot of people may or may not be aware of this, but they witness it every day. Okay, I don't know if you've ever been to McDonald's. You notice someone at the cash register, how happy and how good they are at what they do. Okay, it could be the fry guy, and it goes for any kind of field. It could be a teacher, it could be, someone in the medical field, whatever it is. But once you are in a state of flow, everything comes to you effortlessly, and you have more fun doing what you're doing, and you almost lose track of time. And why that's important? Because as an Uber and Lyft driver, you do two things a lot. You do a lot of driving, and you deal with a lot of people. And if you don't like driving, and if you don't like people, this may not be the thing for you. So you really have to enjoy doing both. But you have to be able to do those two things, communicating with people and driving in a state of flow. So let's talk about what a state of flow. I'm going to pull this up. Actually, I have a description here on Google. I don't know if you can see that or not. But essentially what it says is, according to positive psychologist Mihaly, and please forgive me, I can't pronounce his last name, what you are experiencing in that moment is known as flow. A state of flow is complete immersion in an activity. He describes the mental state of flow as being completely involved in an activity for its own sake. Okay. So essentially, why that's important is because once you start doing a lot of these bullet points that I'm going to go over, things are going to be flowing a lot more effortlessly, and the time will really go by that much faster, and you definitely enjoy doing not only this, because you can apply this method not only to ride sharing but also to every other activity that you do, from cleaning your house to being out with your friends or whatever. Okay, so let's get to the bullet points. The first thing I'm going to talk about is picking up your passengers. You always want to make sure that you have a smooth pickup with your passengers. Once you get that first call, you may notice that you want to keep an eye out where the pin is actually dropped. Okay, then this is important because when it comes to making good impression, if you're in a busy intersection, like I live in LA, you can't really make a U-turn at certain intersections like Wilshire Boulevard. You want to make sure that you approach the street on the side that the passenger is on. Okay, and you'd be surprised, a lot of times these passengers, maybe in the past they headed to where the driver either read the pin wrong or whatever it was, but they got picked up on the opposite side, and you're already off on a bad foot, right? So you don't want to do that. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention to where the pin is, so when you approach the intersection, you shouldn't have to be able to call the passenger. You can if you want, but you should be able to read where the pin is, so you pick them up on the correct side of the street. Now, if it's like a small street, like a residential area, then it doesn't really matter because they can technically just walk across safely, and you pick them up accordingly. Okay, so that's number one. Okay, number two, you want to make sure that you have the correct passenger. Okay, a lot of times, for most of your pickups, you may pull up to the street, you may see someone holding their phone, and more than likely it's probably them, right? Especially if the name says like Samantha, and the young lady's right there is probably her. Okay, but at the end of the day, you really can't assume that it's them, because you want to make sure you have the right passenger on board. Okay, so when they get in the car, you may say something like, you know, what's your name? You know, because if you're in a crowded place, like maybe after hours at a busy restaurant, ballet, or a nightclub, there's hundreds of people, and you want to make sure that, you know, you're using your time adequately and you're picking up the right passenger. Okay, so always verify that their name. Another thing you want to verify their name is because sometimes they're not the one ordering the ride. It may be their mom or the dad or brother or sister that's actually ordering the ride for them. So you may be looking for a female passenger where the actual passenger is actually, you know, a gentleman or whatnot. So once they open the door, you want to make sure you identify, like, you know, what's your name again, or who ordered the ride. That way they're on the same note. Okay. The next step you want to look out for is very important. Make sure that you have the correct destination. Okay. I know we had it in the past where some of the passengers tell me that they'll get in the car and the driver will start driving without verifying where they're going. I don't really recommend that, because you don't want to waste any time. You want to make sure you have the right passenger on board. And also another thing to keep in mind, that at least for my home address, you know, let's say my home address is 123 Main Street. At least here in LA where I live, there's 3 or 4 other cities that have literally the exact street number and street name. So if I don't verify the address, you know, Samantha, are you going to 123 Main Street in the city of whatever the city is? You may take them to the wrong city. I mean, I'm sure both of you will figure it out at some point, like, why are you driving this way? I'm going the other way. But the whole point is you want to make sure that you do it as efficiently as possible and you're taking them to the right location. And when you're doing this, you know, you're verifying their name, you're checking the right destination. You're pretty much telling people that, you know what, I'm making sure that you're in the right car and I'm taking to the correct place. And it shows that, you know, you really care. Okay. The next thing we want to talk about is making sure the passenger is comfortable. The minute they get in the car, okay, you want to make sure, you know, depending on how the weather is. Right now it's a little cool, okay, but usually in the summertime, you may say something like, hey, you know, John or Samantha, whatever the passenger's name is, let me know about the temperature. I'll be more than happy to lower the temperature, or maybe if it's cold, you know, put the heater on a little bit higher for you. Feel free to crack a window, things of that nature. You know, if you have an aux cord, I recommend you get one, because at the end of the day, as much as I like to listen to my kind of music, it's really not about me, but it's about them. So always make sure that if you have an aux cord, you say, look, I have an aux cord here. If you want to listen to your own music, you want to be the DJ, you're more than happy to use it. Okay, so you always want to make them feel comfortable, especially if it's a long ride, right? 30-40 minutes of that nature. If they want to put their own tunes, or maybe if they want to have a preferred station, you know, always make them feel comfortable, because ultimately it's really about, you know, them, and you're trying to service them as best as possible. Okay. And the reason is that you ask all these questions is that you're pretty much letting the passenger know that, you know, I care about you. Okay, that's pretty much it. Even if they don't, you know, care about the temperature or whatever, subconsciously they're thinking, you know what, this guy is being really attentive to my needs. Okay. All right. So always make sure you double check the, you know, their name, destination, and make sure the passenger is comfortable. The next thing I want to talk about is knowing when or when not to have a conversation with them. A lot of times, most people, you know, they come in with the headphones, or they're on their phone, or they're on their, you know, tablet or whatever, or their, you know, their laptop. You want to make sure that you read, you know, if they want to have a conversation, okay? Because if they don't want to be bothered, it's just best just to keep driving, and you know, let them do whatever they want to do. but you may want to start something like saying like, how's your day going? Or or you are local or you're a tourist. Here in LA we get a lot of tourists. Okay, so you always say stuff like, are you local or are you visiting from out of town? And the reason why that's important, because depending on what the answer is, then you can approach it with what kind of conversation you want to have. Okay, and I'll have another video later regarding tips for how to have conversations. But at the end of the day, you want to be able to read, do they want to be left alone, or do they want to have a conversation? Because usually when you do have a conversation with them, it really goes a long way of making the ride, at least for you, also more comfortable, more enjoyable, especially if it's a longer ride. You'd be surprised of all the fun conversations you have, getting to know your passengers and the things you learn from them and things they learn from you about the city or things to do of that nature. Okay. And another thing I want to talk about is what I have in the back of my car is actually a tablet. And what this tablet is pretty much, I inform people, I don't know if you can see that. Okay, simply, I just put the tablet in the back seat of the car. When they sit back there, I may put things that I think they may find interesting. Okay, right now what we have here is an Uber Eats credit up to $15 in free food. Okay, and what I do with this tablet is I essentially just post things that they may or may not find interesting, but I don't really push it on them. I just kind of let the tablet do the talking for itself. Okay, a lot of times they may say, hey, what's going on with this free food thing, or from Uber Eats, and I say, look, if you want it, it's a code, it's my Uber Eats code. If you never tried Uber Eats, I strongly suggest that you do, because if you're a first-time customer and you use the code on the tablet, you get up to $15 in free food. So it's a way to spark conversation, but also as a way to provide good service for them. Okay. Another thing you can use the tablet for is, I know the Simple Driver has made a video out there, which I will link the description below, talking about ways to generate more income for yourself. Okay, he's talked about maybe building a website or doing referrals, an affiliate program through Amazon. Whatever you want to do, you can post on this tablet. Because most of I would have to say, the number one question I get from passengers is, what do you do besides Uber, Lyft? 100%, okay? And if you have this tablet back there, if let's say you happen to do heating and air on the side, or you do real estate, okay? Or maybe, you're going to school for, programming or whatever it is. You can post stuff on here to let them know about other services you may provide they may find interesting. Okay, so never miss an opportunity to market not only yourselves but other services that they may find enjoyable, or they may need. Okay, and again, I'll link the description for the software available for this tablet. It's actually free to use. You can upload as many tablet images to the tablet. There's no cost. And I also linked the description for the Simple Driver on the importance of maybe getting an Amazon affiliate program, or also sharing your referral code, your driver referral code. Okay, because I know, at least for me right now, for Uber it's $700 for every new driver, and I think it's $500 for Lyft. So if you have that here, someone may be sitting back there and be like, hey, what's the deal with this with this tablet? And they may say, I've been trying to get a second job. And all you have to do is tell them, look, take a picture of the tablet, and all the information is with them, as far as like being able to drive for Uber or Lyft or whatever it is that you want to share with them. Okay, so that's that. The next thing I want to talk about, which is probably one of the most important things to making a good lasting impression, is dropping them off. Okay, usually if you're having a good conversation with your passengers, it's all full blown, literally up to the second you drop them off. So what I do is I always tell them, Mike or Samantha, whatever the passenger's name is, make sure you have your cell phone your keys, and your wallet, okay? And if you have enough time to kind of pull off to the side in a safe spot, literally ask them to just stop and double check that they got all this stuff, okay? Because a lot of drivers, they don't really say anything. They just drop them off, and they may say thank you or whatnot, and that's that. And every time I say that, most every time, most of the passengers will say something like, oh, none of my other drivers ever said that or reminded me, or I've actually left the cell phone behind. And if you just say that, I guarantee you, it lets them know that you care about them, and it would almost guarantee you a 5-star rating, okay? Because I don't know about you, but if you lose your cell phone, I mean, I would go crazy without it, So always make sure you take the time when you drop them off. If you can't turn around, if it's safe to do so, say thank you, Samantha. Thank you, John. It was a pleasure. Make sure you have all your stuff. Watch step as you exit, and it'll go a long way of making your day more enjoyable, and also making a lasting impression on your customers. Make sure to check the links below. Thank you.